Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kire here with another Infinite Magicraid video. And in today's video, I want to talk about who should I get for my next Mythic. And due to starting this game late and then also taking a big break here the past couple months, I actually only have one Mythic character. And I finally have, with coming back to the game, doing this event here, and then these beginner events, I have enough to be able to get one Mythic character. I have 100. And then I also already have Ben Austin at E3, so not really interested in taking him to E5. Kind of want to talk about my thought process going forward, and then also look at some of the new features, and we can kind of get an idea of what people are using for this content. Because I think one of my favorite new features they got going forward for this game is being able to see what people are using to be able to clear this stuff. So this boss guide, being able to check this out, and then not only be able to check it out, but then see what people are using as like the reference guide, that's new. But then to also be able to see stuff that I haven't even come close to clearing yet, because I've only been able to beat 27, and then I haven't beat 28 yet. But I want to plan, because when you get further down, there's going to be modifiers on this. So where was I before? I want to say I was furthest here. So I got to 30 on there. Oh, okay, so I was furthest here. So there's dungeon effects here, where increases the detonation damage dealt by burn, bleed damage and burn damage taken by 200%. Meanwhile, reduces the HP burning damage taken by 50%. So I want to get ahead of this and get ready for this kind of stuff, because this is going to be what I want to be able to plan for going forward, because this is where the good rewards are. As you can see, the differences get quite a bit better. It doesn't look crazy, but then over the course of, thousands of energy, this is going to really start to add up. So we have, 50, or what is that, 60, 40, but then 83% elite, 15% epic, and 2% legendary on 30. And then it slowly starts to go up 55, 40, and then 50, 50 right there, and a little bit better on the legend section. Let's go all the way down here, 4% with a 65% chance of being a 6-star piece. And then where do they actually get rid of the greens? I want to say it's right there, or the 4-star pieces. Yeah, right there. But that's how it was before. Okay, so they get rid of greens there. At 24 is going to be the final portion there. But point being is I want to get ready for this. I want to see if there's any mythic characters that people are using going forward that we can get ready for it. So it does make sense. Some of these characters I expected. Hizonia was always really good, and Nidworld was always really good, but it's weird seeing so much Little Jack. As I go through, people are beating Tower Mark with him, people are beating this with him, so it is pretty cool that a character that we all got in October is now this big meta character. Also pairing kind of makes sense that a burn character in Little Jack is going to get paired with Anna. Also, we have the benefits stage 31 through 35 here, but none of these are actual mythic characters, except here's the first one. We got Anita here. She got a big buff, so I might want to consider her. And also, potentially getting ahead of myself here, let me talk about my thought process before this was going to be basically between a couple characters. When I was playing, I had an idea of, like Luna was kind of a fringe pick, Nordak was kind of fringe, and then you could go Olacaster Cheese if I wanted to have like the low built version of Olacaster, and then Lucifer was also an option too. Going for the, severe wound, being able to actually do well against this boss here. Also do really good in arena, potentially. So those are the kind of things that I was thinking about for those characters and which one I want to get. I also really like the red mark. That's one thing I've really, tunneled in a ton, which kind of is helpful because Little Jack is there. And it seems like Little Jack is this insane character that's used everywhere. But I went all in on the red mark versus my other ones, not even close. So this one's actually pretty developed. It's going to be nice to actually be able to use Little Jack there. So I'm trying to figure out the best possible mythic character to pick with that combination. I want to see if there's anyone building teams with a particular mythic and Little Jack, or whatever teams are being used to clear some of this hard content. So let's check out this. Also, one thing I do want to mention is in arena, I was checking the defenses. This is definitely taken with a big grain of salt. Basically, everyone on defense is using Brynhild. That was not the case when I was playing. There was a lot of Lucifer, but none of this Brynhild, like every team. And then maybe it could be because reset was recent, but I don't think so. I think this is like legitimately a thing. Also, the Easter character I wasn't playing for, most people are using that. And also, I don't really try to compete with the top arena people, like at all. I like to look at the top whales and kind of take it with a heavy grain of salt, but then look at what they're doing and try to apply that to the teams I use. It's just another factor here. I like to be able to see what people are doing and kind of get an idea of, okay, you know, like here's this new thing that they potentially are doing. Might not work for me because I'm not spending nearly as much as them, because it's like that's one of the issues with trying to look at these characters or look at what they're doing. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense if they're all E3 or at E5. You know, like I haven't really seen a concept only work at E5, but a lot of this stuff is like, okay, they're E3, so it works. Whereas if it wasn't E3, there's no point in even trying this. So like, look at this team, you know, they're all E5. So, you know, like good luck. So I like to look at that, and you see a ton of Brynhild there. So that's one option as a mythic character. You're seeing a ton of her, even though don't really care about PvP. If we see more of her in a lot of other scenarios that I actually do care about, then I might want to consider it. So here in Redmark, haven't beat 30 yet. Let's actually let's see if there's any lineups that people are building that involve a mythic. So, you know, we're limiting ourselves to a couple of them, but a ton more Little Jack and Anna. So this combination is absolutely insane. We'll have to do a video showcasing this because he looks to be everywhere now, ever since his rework, which is surprising. Usually games don't do this, where it's like you have a character that they've already gotten their money out of you for, and it was kind of a failure. Maybe they're looking at it in that sense, where it's like, okay, here's another chance to get him, but we'll actually make him good this time. So maybe that's why they ended up trying it. We have this other character here in Bool that is in a lot of teams, and then we also have Lucia. I feel like that's just a product of it being Redmark, and she's Redmark, you know, and then also how he built his team, where he has Alina and Lucia. So okay, we got all the casters in here too. So it's kind of like a small mix, but most people don't even bother. They just have well, actually I should take that back. It's either they don't even bother, but they also have Agatha in here, but that's not a mythic. You know, that's going to be another character we're going to have to consider getting. Looking at that, let's look at more of the dungeons and see what other people are using here. So I wanted to check out this one, because if I had to guess, I would assume Lucifer would be actually pretty high up here, but maybe that's not the case anymore. Maybe people are not really focusing him. Yeah, because I actually really like Hazaro. I have Hazaro build. I use him on my main team. I think he's insane. And then he kind of doubles dips here, where he's really good as a person that prevents healing and then also does insane damage on clan boss. Like I had Nid rolled for a bit, and then I want to try him. And I've been using him over Nid rolled, even though I think Nid rolled's just is, if not better, at the damage perspective. I like him because he's a little bit more versatile, and he's pretty comparable damage, in my opinion. So, you know, ideally you just have both, obviously, or, you know, if you're lucky enough to have both, you would do that, but most people don't get the option to have both, so you're kind of stuck with one or the other, but I think both are really good. You have another Nita situation here with Little Jack. It seems like Little Jack is literally everywhere. Everyone is using him, which is wild, but the other people around him, yeah, you see the Lucifers in here. You got them. I was really hoping to pull this guy in my beginner pack where you had the 30 chances, but I ended up just going with Anna. I rolled so bad on that. And then, yeah, it's just all the classic stuff. You know, you got Santa, Catherine, and then Little Jack and Hazaro. It seems like that, or if you don't have Hazaro, you go Lucifer, and the Nita's in there as well as a pretty monster AoE DPS. Let's check out Ifrit. Same situation. You know, all these teams are super similar. I was also hoping to pull this guy in the beginner pack. Didn't end up getting him either. This one seemed to be very similar, where it's Bool, Nicholas, Easter Bunny. Yeah, I think it's fine. I haven't checked out the new rework for HAL 9000. A lot of same stuff here. Never been the biggest fan of farming this dungeon just because of the speed, but I might actually give it a go here. I think she's just gonna be really good at being able to one-shot the minions before getting to the boss. But the fact that she's being used here, and I believe that there's no poison bonus here, and she's still getting used. I think that really speaks to just how strong she is. It really speaks to just how strong she is in this, because when we go to this, yeah, it's just burn, bleed, and bleed damage taken, or detonation damage dealt by burn, bleed, and burn damage taken by 200%. And then the HP burning is reduced, and she's still able to keep up and is in a ton of these teams. So she might actually be a contender for this. Seems like a ton of this seems to be a very standard comp here, where it's Nidrold, Catherine, Santa, Hazaro, or not Hazaro, Hizonia, and Quinlan's also pretty good. I like Quinlan. I have I believe an E2 Quinlan that I've been using a ton for dungeons. I like him because you can consistently freeze them and then plan around that and make it to where it's not like an RNG fest, because the damage is just so high in these that it gets pretty frustrating if they ever get an attack off and it one-shots your person, then it makes the run super inconsistent. So I like him a ton in being able to guarantee these runs. And I'm sure people are using Nita the same way, kind of just, okay, I guarantee one shot a wave with Zonia or something like that, and then go on to the boss. Probably with Nidrold too, he probably does a ton of damage, especially in these higher versions where he has the higher bleed damage. Be the move. I'm curious if people are even using him. You're not seeing much. Well, people probably already beat this and don't even bother going back, but you do see one little jack there. But I think that's pretty interesting. I think for the most part, I'm not sure who I'm going to pick, because a part of me feels like it's kind of pointless to pick one at this point, because most of the power comes from them with their exclusives. Okay, if I'm going to pick this one, I'm just going to be constantly disappointed. So it's almost like worth it to just stack and then buy the character out when they're at 100, when I have 150 or 200 of these shards, and then actually get them up. I'm going to need to see if there's anyone actually worth building now. You know, Olacaster would be the obvious choice. It's either Olacaster, at least when I was playing, is completely worthless when it comes to investing into him. He's like, you just make him paper Olacaster, and then when you get him to about E2, then it's worth actually building him. Not sure if I'm actually going to do that. Nita's probably the safe choice. If I had to, if I had to pull the trigger now, I was forced to pull the trigger right now, I'm going to choose Nita. That is going to be the move. But some of the other fringe choices in Olacaster, Lucifer, Brynhild's pretty much out of the question. She's just all PvE or PvP focused. I really only care about PvE. That's pretty much it, you know, for this. You know, like, at least that's my thought process going forward. Like, Nita's definitely number one. Like, she's the top pick in the draft so far. But potentially can move it. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. And with that, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.